for. So I'll let him tell a little bit about himself. Jack Guerrero.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute delight for me to be with you this evening. I have a lot of friends in the Long Beach Republican Club. Many of you have been with me from the start when I initiated this campaign for justice and government reform. And a lot of you were also present at last week's candidate forum. Who was at the debate last week? A few hands up, I can see. That was a lot of fun and certainly an opportunity to contrast the competing perspectives about how we fix this state. My opponent is one of the most liberal activists and extremists that I've come across in municipal government. Her answer to resolving the health crisis is to throw more money at Planned Parenthood. She actually said that without any prodding from me. She's also an economic revisionist and a denier of the unfunded pension liability obligation that exists, which is very ironic because her own city is one of the most mismanaged when it comes to ameliorating the unfunded obligation. $1 billion in the hole in Long Beach City alone, with participants in the $100,000 pension club at twice the rate for the state of California. Ladies and gentlemen, the stakes in this race could not be greater. We've got an excessive tax burden, the highest at 13.5%, the highest tax burden in the entire country. And we've also got the most regressive gas tax at 55 cents per gallon, a convoluted, extremely regressive tax that hurts working families and working people like those constituents that I represent in the city of Cudahy. On education, ladies and gentlemen, we used to be the best state. Now we rank near the bottom, 46 out of 50 states in terms of student achievement, and half of our children cannot read proficiently at grade level. Meanwhile, politicians in Sacramento are more interested in the over-sexualization of your children than they are in bringing back core academic disciplines to the classroom. This is one of those issues, by the way, that Republicans have the moral high ground on. And we don't do enough of a good job of promoting this issue to working families and blue-collar communities like those that I represent. On financial affairs, we've got a very precarious state. Our credit rating is now 45 out of 50, which means that we have to pay significant funding to Wall Street bankers. How ironic that the party of Alexander Cortez, when you lift the veil, is actually the party of Wall Street bankers, because we have to contribute so much money to fund our addiction to debt and to bonds. Ladies and gentlemen, it's no wonder that a lot of people are leaving the state, including 16,000 businesses in the last 10 years. This is astonishing. We can do better, but it's going to require a new direction. My name is Jack Guerrero. I'm a CPA, an economist, a city council member, and a former mayor in the city of Cudahy. I was born and raised in the district to honest and hardworking Mexican immigrant parents. I was raised in a tough neighborhood, surrounded by poverty, gangs, and decrepit public schools. It is really only through hard work and early ambition for self-improvement, and yes, the grace of God, and I'm not embarrassed to admit that as a Christian, that I was able to overcome adversity and yes, a decrepit failure factory of a high school that I attended. But we need to do a better job of extending similar opportunities to young people in this state and in our district. And it is to the young people that I dedicate this campaign out of deference to their American dream. In 2013, I relocated back to Southern California after professional stints in New York and London and abroad. And initially I settled in the family home thinking that I would relocate to the cool, hip west side of LA County. I thought of the beach cities, actually. But within a few months of my relocation to Southern California, there was a corruption scandal in my city. Very similar to the case of Bell. Everybody remembers the case of Bell, right? Where the city manager was paying himself $1.5 million in a town where the average income is $30,000 a year. A disgusting violation of the public trust. The corruption in my city was no less egregious. The dollar signs were a little bit smaller, but the conduct was absolutely despicable. And against that backdrop, I had to look myself in the mirror and determine whether I needed to step up to the plate to represent my constituents honorably and honestly. And after careful deliberation, I decided to run for city council. I was elected as the top vote getter and appointed mayor of my city immediately. I called upon the California State Controller in my first year to demand a forensic examination of my city. And within a few months, the controller delivered an authoritative report that gave me the credible bill of health that I needed to usher in serious government reform in my city. I have been consistently re-elected in my town as the top vote getter, and this is a town with 98% Hispanic demographic and over 90% Democrat. Republicans can win in deep blue communities without once having to compromise on principle. Remember that. That is a true story. Ladies and gentlemen, I will bring that same discipline to Sacramento and to that swamp, that corrupt regime that we have in place for city government. I'm going to conclude with this final thought, ladies and gentlemen, and patriots in the room and honest people everywhere who are sick and tired of corruption in politics. There is a revolution coming. Don't get it started without me. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.